Glad to see a lot of you all are ready for the Summer Institute, and I hope those of you who are still getting your coffee are getting pumped up and getting ready. It is now 10:05, so we're going to go ahead and kick off this Summer Institute session. So my name is Ray Martinez. My pronouns are they, them, and I'm the Texas Rising Director for the Texas Freedom Network. And welcome to Camp Summer Institute, the first digital Camp Summer Institute ever. I am super excited for everybody to be here today, for us to go into this training and learn together and come up with solutions together. And I just was like looking back and thinking about how like trainings like this are so important. And I was looking back at my experience, in my first time that I ever took an action before. That was back in 2013. And I signed up to go and speak at a city council hearing that was getting input from members of San Antonio to see whether or not San Antonio should vote for a non-discrimination ordinance that extended to sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression in relation to employment. So I like signed up for this. I was like, I'm ready for this as a young, queer trans Texan. I was like, I think, I need to go up and show up for folks who are like me, to make sure that folks like me didn't get fired from, our jobs just for being who we are. So I was super pumped. I stayed up late writing my testimony, and I went to the city council hearing the next day. And I got up on that dais to talk to my city council members, and I just remember being so incredibly nervous. Like my hands were shaking, and I'm pretty sure my voice was shaking as I was delivering my testimony. And just looking back on that right now, I was just thinking, how a training like this could have really helped me in my first steps as an organizer and as an activist. Could have helped me kind of learn how to talk about myself in relation to my organizing, in relation to the issues that I cared about. So I'm super excited for this opportunity for us all to get together and learn together. I think that trainings like this offer a couple of different things, right? First, of course, is like the ability to gain some skills, take some things back to your community and teach others on how to do it, right? So like skill building is number one. Or if you're a seasoned organizer, maybe buffing up on your current skills, right? Doesn't hurt to get a second training and, maybe discover some things that you've never, thought about before. So skill building, buffing up your skills, and then also just being connected to other young people who really care about the issues that you care about, right? This is a place where we can build community with each other and learn from each other. So I do hope that everybody gets something out of this training, whether it's, you're here for the first time, you're learning about organizing for the first time, to you have been organizing in your community for a while now, and you're looking forward to making connections with people during this training. So if you can, just take a second to kind of put what you're looking forward to in the chat. Go ahead and share. If there's a session that you're looking forward to, or a person that you're looking forward to hearing from, go ahead and put that in the chat. We'd like to see what you guys are pumped about. So the other piece is that not only am I very excited for what we're going to learn together and the relationships that we're going to build together over the next 2 weekends, but I am also, everybody knows that we are in a very important year. There's a lot at stake in our elections in November. And I think that we're really ready to show the rest of the nation who Texas really is, right? And who is a part of Texas, actually, like who represents Texas. Well, it's every one of you guys here on this in this training. It's young people of color who are not interested in having a narrative about Texas be reflected to the rest of the nation that doesn't fall in line with our actual values and who we actually are. So I just want to say thank you to everybody for hopping on this call and making sure that, you know, we're learning together and taking things back to our community together. And I also wanted to say, like, over the past 5 years that I've been with Texas Rising, I've witnessed young people young people are already organizing in their communities, right? Not only are the young people of Texas, like, the future of Texas and the nation, but we're also the now. And you all on this call, some of you all are already leading things in your own communities and have been for years already, right? And some of you all are just coming to this work for the first time. So I just, you know, want to recognize that and say that, you know, Texas Rising and young people across the state have been organizing. We are the now of Texas. And this training is aiming to give you those tools that you need and those connections that you would like. So thank you very much for attending our Camp Summer Institute. I'm now going to kick it over to Val Benitez, who is the Texas Freedom Network's Chief Programs Officer and the founder of Texas Rising, to kind of go over the history of Texas Rising and where we got our start.
Good morning, everyone. I'm so happy to be here today with you. I'm Val Benitez, and I'm the Chief Program Officer for the Texas Freedom Network and for Texas Rising. I think I want to start off by talking a little bit about the Texas Freedom Network to make sure we're grounded in that. So TFN was started 25 years ago by Cecile Richards, and it was started on the heels of her mother's re-election loss for governor to a little-known challenger named George W. Bush. They started this organization because what they saw while they were organizing prior to that election was really the formation of the radical right, the religious right, forming an agenda throughout the state. That's an agenda we're all deeply familiar with now, and is something that the entire nation, you know, counters with us. So from that beginning place, the core tenets of the organization have always been about organizing people and for people to have power, right? And to see that through, no matter what the issue area has been for the organization. Organizing is what we believe is the thing that makes all of the difference in this world. So I had the privilege of joining this organization about 14 years ago. And about 13 years ago, I got to be a founder of what is now Texas Rising. It was really exciting. Seeing you all here today and seeing this come to the level and scale that it has is like watching a dream come true, honestly. For the very beginning of why did we want to do this? What did we want to create? There were a couple of things. I started out as well as a student organizer at the University of Texas at Austin, Hookham. And my organizing began in fighting for affirmative action on that campus. And from there, I went into doing political work, and lots of the young people that I organized with did not stay in Texas. They went elsewhere for other opportunities in progressive work and campaigns and jobs. And I realized that what we really needed in Texas was something that would help keep people here in our state, that young leaders of color needed pathways so that we could continue to make our mark and continue to really get to what we need. So with that, what we did was we started at TFN. You know, Kathy Miller, the executive director, was absolutely 1,000% on board with this. A couple of things. We wanted to create a space where young people could organize. I think it's really important that we all remember how much power we have in creating space for others. So we wanted to create a space where young people could really organize. We wanted to create these pathways for individual leadership development where people could really deeply hone their skills. And we wanted to create political power, right? We wanted to be able to have young people really show that you are this state, you own this state. You know, young people under the age of 35 make up 52% of this state. So that there is nothing in this state that isn't about your agenda your communities and what you want to see happen, and that you have enough power that you can affect that at every level, from the local to the statewide and on. So with that, I think some of you are pretty familiar with the sex education work at the SBOE. That was actually some of the very beginning issue education work that we ever engaged in at the SBOE. And from the SBOE, we took it to the state legislature. I mean, other things of past days were victories at the University of Houston when the students organized to pass non-discrimination ordinances for the faculty and staff at that university. Every step along the way, young people have been winning victories all along the history of this organization. So as time went on, we continued doing issue advocacy work at the state board, at local community levels. And what we also saw there was a real need for was electoral work, right? That young people, and specifically young people of color, needed to be registered, and they needed a place where they could really come to and find the information to be successful in voting, right? And in really making that heard. So we started with voter registration. And from a few campuses, UT El Paso is the first chapter who ever blew it out of the water with like 1,200 voter registrations in the first cycle. And from there, we've now moved on to over 30,000 registrations in the last cycle, and hundreds of thousands of young people who have been engaged through this electoral process with Texas Rising, and bringing us to the place where young people throughout the state are forming the agenda, are deciding on the candidates, and are putting their political muscle behind it. And in this last primary season, it was amazing to see that power felt, to see it felt in the Valley, in the SD 27 race, to see it felt in Travis County, in the district attorney race, and to really see all of the culmination of the advocacy and the organizing with the electoral power together. And I'm so excited to see that. I've seen it all of the years along the way, with our young people at the forefront of protecting people who are trying to walk into clinics to receive abortions, to being escorts, to being abortion out loud and proud, to seeing people stand by and support and fight for DACA, for fighting to protect immigrant children at the Valley, for being first-line responders to children coming to the border from Central America, to fighting for voting rights and polling locations and meeting with county elected officials, to advocating for district attorneys to bring true criminal justice reform, and to doing all of that while participating in the uprising in the streets this summer, to bringing really hard, sticking with it through the organizing that is so necessary all the way along to make these long-term policy goals happen. And I know that every member of Texas Rising isn't shying away from any of that. And I'm so excited to see what will become of everything that we're moving forward with. So I'm so happy to join you today. Thank you, Ray, for letting me have a little time to talk about our history. And I can't wait to see the entire rest of the conference.
Thank you, Val. The power in that history, right? That just that just is so helpful to give context for who we are, what we've been doing, and the power that everybody holds in this training. So, thank you so much, Val. I'm going to go into just a little bit about who Texas Rising is now and what we're planning on doing in the future. So Texas Rising is a group, are basically young people in Texas, young people of color in Texas working together to build a movement to move Texas to be better in terms of social justice, right? So we're all working together to advocate for reproductive justice, voting rights, LGBTQ equality, criminal justice reform, and immigration reform and voting rights. And how you may be asking yourself, how do we do this? How do we organize for all of those different issues? And how do we go about creating change in the state? So I'm going to share with you guys super quick my screen. Let's see. All right. Let me share this with you really quick. So this is the RePower Triangle, and this is kind of how we believe we can go about creating change in our communities for all of the issues that we're advocating for. So we have electoral politics. This is a part of our organizing that we do to make sure that we're electing candidates that actually reflect us into office, right? So this is a lot of voter registration. In Texas, it's super important to register voters, right? No voter is already registered when they turn 18. So folks do need to get registered in the state of Texas. So voter registration is key. And then GOTV work and voter education is also a part of this. So it's all of our phone banking together, all of our text banking to make sure that young people know when and where they're going to vote. And then this year, Texas Rising is going to be making endorsements, as Val just mentioned, for candidates that align with Texas Rising's values, right? So we'll also be advocating for for candidates who are, going out for offices across the state. From electoral politics, and I'm going to kind of hop around, we also do public policy advocacy, right? And that is as soon as we elect these people into office, we're actually holding them accountable to what they promised or what they didn't promise, right? When they go to the Texas State Legislature, or when they are in the City Council meetings, right? And working towards approving legislation or ordinances, right? So we want to make sure that those folks are actually responsible to the young people of color of Texas. So public policy advocacy, we advocate at the Texas State Legislature, at the State Board of Education, and also in our own cities and our counties, advocating for those issues that I just mentioned before. And as a line, a piece of our organizing that we do throughout our work is community organizing. And that's building relationships with other young people on the ground, making sure that we're bringing other young people into the movement with us. We know that Texas is a huge state and we cannot do this alone. So just making sure that we're building and bringing as many people into the movement that we can. We're building relationships with partner organizations on the ground and doing some solid education work to let people know about what's happening and how they can get active and engaged right now. As a core component to all of this, and this is one of the reasons why we have trainings like this, is leadership development. So at each and every step of the way, we want to make sure that young people aren't just doing the things, but also young people are leading the different parts of this organizing, right? So leadership development is our core principle in all of these areas. And we want to be making sure that young people are leading in each area. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen. This is a little bit about how we do this. Texas Rising this year has a lot of really exciting things that we are doing that we're going to be a part of. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen in 1 second. So we have a lot of cool great things that we're going to be organizing for in 2020. And I kind of want to reference some of the work that we've already done this year. So we've made over 130,000 calls across the state, engaging young people to call the governor, to advocate for abortion access. We have, made calls to make sure that people are getting registered to vote in the state of Texas. So we've together as a group made over 130,000 calls together. We've also texted 537,000 people, making sure that they're also young people are getting on their phones, a way for them to get involved also. So we've already accomplished quite a bit in terms of our communication with like other young people, even during times like COVID, right, where we're not able to actually be on campus. We're still moving forward and trying to organize because we know that this year is such an important year. And, we have 19 chapters across the state. There are folks on this call from Houston, from the Valley, from Dallas, El Paso, San Antonio, San Marcos, Austin, all across the state, right? Nacogdoches, Waco, and College Station. So we have 19 chapters that are registered student organizations and are doing work on the ground in their college campuses when we're not in COVID, at times like COVID. But so we have already done quite a lot of work together, and we are going to continue to do a lot of work moving forward. We are going to try and register as many people as we can via text and phone and digital organizing. And then we're also going to do a lot of GOTV, making sure that those are get out the vote, right? Making sure that those young people that we've built relationships with, that we've talked to, and young people that maybe we've never talked to before are able to like understand what they need to go and vote and when and where they can go and vote. So there's a lot of cool things on the horizon to look forward to for when it comes to what we're planning on doing this year. So I'm going to pause right here, and I'm going to go ahead and introduce our keynote speaker. Unfortunately, our keynote speaker was not able to make it in person today, but she really wanted to make sure that she showed up today. So she has recorded a keynote for us that I will play in just one second. Our keynote speaker is Judge Lina Hidalgo. She is the head of Harris County's governing body. She is an immigrant from Colombia and the first woman and Latina to be elected to county judge, and only the second woman to be elected to the commissioner's court. In addition to all of these pieces, Judge Lina Hidalgo was elected to her position at the age of 26. So Judge Lina Hidalgo is very much a part of the Texas Rising generation, and I'm going to go ahead and play her video that she's recorded for us today.
Hi, I'm Harris County Judge Lina Hidalgo. I am so proud to visit with you, even if it's virtual.
All right. Super thankful to have those words from Judge Lina Hidalgo, and thankful that she provided our keynote speaker for today. I am going to go ahead and introduce Osmara Santana to go ahead and kick off our awards part of our opening session.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. How can I follow Lina after that wonderful speech? Hi, everybody. My name is Osmara. I am the Deputy Director at Texas Rising. Today, we're going to be giving out some awards. So we're going to go ahead and get started with that. So like I mentioned, we're going to be giving out awards. It is an honor to be presenting this year's Texas Rising Awards. When we kicked off 2020, we envisioned and crafted a plan to change the face of Texas by recruiting, training, and educating the young constituency. I know that saying that we got served some serious curveballs this first half of 2020 is an extreme understatement, but I want to acknowledge how incredibly fast and smooth this team was able to pivot and make a switch to a digital platform and still be able to organize and still being able to make a difference in Texas. Texas Rising is the biggest and strongest it's ever been, and I am excited to see how much more will grow after the Summer Institute with new members being here today. Also, believe it or not, today marks 100 days until the general election in November. It's crazy, right? It feels like it was just 2016, 2018, but here we are again. There is so much to do, but I'm completely confident that this team has the power to make a difference in the state, and I am so excited to do that with all of you. With that, I want to say that every single one of you has done so much for this organization, especially for your campuses and your communities. Today, we will be awarding our Field Manager of the Year, our Deputy Field Organizer of the Year, and our Campus Organizer of the Year. Each of these awardees was nominated and voted on by you, and throughout this year, they have shown leadership, commitment, and passion in the work that they do in the regions. So with that being said, the first award we will be presenting today is our Field Manager of the Year award. This year's and first ever Field Manager of the Year goes to a person that has exemplified Texas Rising's core values and its mission and made a significant impact on their community by successfully executing and leading campaigns, building great team culture and training their team throughout the region, and being the right hand to their RFC, which is the Regional Field Coordinator. This year's Field Manager of the Year award goes to our Rio Grande Valley Field Manager, Joe Colon Valles. Joe, the floor is yours. Do you want to share some words with us?
Oh my God, buenos dias. Good morning. Okay, so thank you all so much. I remember when I was interviewing for this position, I was asked if I had any management experience. I told Ophelia, our regional field coordinator, that I didn't have any formal managerial experience, but I did have experience managing up to 12 drag queens at a time. I said, I think if I can manage drag queens, then I can manage a team of organizers. I always tell this story, but a little over 6 years ago, I was a baby drag queen hosting a show at a local community college here in Bronzeville. It was there that I met an organizer with Texas Rising who was tabling and talking to students on how to get civically engaged through artivism. For me, drag has always been a form of artistic expression, and so I dared to ask, what if I use my drag for activism? The idea wasn't new, but this Texas Rising organizer said, sure, why not? And the rest is history. I attended my first Summer Institute not too long after, and I gained an awareness and understanding on how to engage in social justice activism and community organizing. So looking back, I wouldn't have been able to have worked with those drag queens to organize them across South Texas around HIV prevention, immigration justice, reproductive justice, and GOTV, as well as gain the recognition that I have if it weren't for the foundation, Summer Institute, and Texas Rising helped build for me as a young person. This really is a full circle moment for me. I'm super grateful for this award and the opportunity to work with such an amazing and dedicated group of people, not only in the Rio Grande Valley, but across the state of Texas as well. I'm super grateful for my RGV field organizers. I love y'all, and for their everyday inspiring drive and passion to help create a better future for our region and our state. Thank you, Ofelia, Ray, and Osmara, and everyone else who has been a part of this journey with me. Gracias.
Thank you so much, Joe. Thank you so much. Puro 956. Yes.
Puro 956.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Joe, for sharing some words with us. Okay, so the next award we will be presenting today is our Deputy Field Organizer of the Year Award. This is also the first time that we award on this category. This year's DFO of the Year Award goes to someone that went above and beyond their duties as a member of Texas Rising. They exemplified Texas Rising's core values and made a significant impact on their campus and community, both in person when we could and digitally, of course. They successfully mobilized around their voter registration and get out the vote efforts and proved themselves to be a strong and committed team player. This year's DFO of the Year Award goes to a member of our San Antonio-San Marcos team, April Montemayor. April, do you want to share a few words?
Hi everyone, my name is April Montemayor. My pronouns are she, her, ella, and I am a Deputy Field Organizer in San Antonio. I want to start off by saying that I am super excited to be receiving this award. Being a part of Texas Rising has been so much fun and has taught me so many important things, like how to organize. I really appreciate all of you.
I think you broke out a little bit, but you can continue.
Yeah, sorry. Oh, sorry. I just wanted to say that I'm super grateful that I've met and worked alongside so many people that are so beautiful and wonderful. And I want to give a big shout out to my team in San Antonio, San Marcos. I really appreciate all of you. And I also want to give a big shout out to Scott and Lexi for always being super supportive and amazing. So thank you. And I'm so excited to be here and to learn new things at Summer Institute. Thank you, everyone.
Amazing. Thank you so much, April, and congratulations again. So our next and last award for today is our Campus Organizer of the Year Award. The person receiving the CEO of the Year Award went above and beyond their duties as a member of Texas Rising. They exemplified Texas Rising's core values and made a significant impact on their campus and community by building coalitions with other student groups, and they proved themselves to be an effective leader in the region by supporting their student chapters and engaging with community members. This year's CEO of the Year Award goes to a queen from our Rio Grande Valley team, Denise Palacios. Hi, Denise. The floor is yours. Do you want to share some words?
Good morning, y'all. Thank you. My name is Denise Palacios. My pronouns are she, her, hers. And I'm from the Valley, Puro 956. I'm really grateful to be here today. Out of all the things that I've done so far or been involved in, this Texas Rising has been the most meaningful and the most impactful. I don't know why I'm receiving this award, because nothing would be done if it wasn't without Ofelia, our RFD, without Joe, our field organizer, field manager, and all of the field organizers of student leaders, not only here in the Rio Grande Valley, but across the state, because anybody who's in Texas Rising knows that we're always talking to each other and we're always looking for advice on how to continue organizing. So I'm really grateful because Texas Rising has given me a community of young people who are emboldened by the vision of a better future, and a vision that truly embodies what our rising generation is really capable of. We need each other. We need to be willing to fight for someone who we don't know, to be kind, to be courageous. And there's a lot of horrible things that are happening right now, and it's because of a lack of leadership. And I promise you that nothing will change if we don't fight back. We cannot be complacent. We need to continue fighting for our equity and our democracy until and after every person is able to exercise their rights to vote and have it truly be accounted for. Until everybody lives above the poverty level, until everybody has a just living wage and is properly compensated for their work, until everybody has a substantive voice in the matters that affect their place of employment, until everybody has the justice, the equity that we are truly deserving of, and until our government is representative of the interests of the people and not particular companies or organizations. So keep fighting, because there's a lot more work to be done. And if we're centered in our community and love for our community, we will get it done. So thanks, y'all. Los quiero mucho, and take care.
Thank you so much, Denise. Congratulations. We are so proud of you. We're so proud of Joe and so proud of April. Congratulations to all of our award winners today.